Yeah, our church has been involved in many ways with helping with refugees in our community, but we hadn't done sponsorship recently. We've been helping by giving away clothing every winter, warm clothing for refugees. And I've been teaching an ESL class for refugees for several years. And I think when the crisis in Afghanistan happened last year, and we knew that there would be tens of thousands of refugees coming from Afghanistan, we really felt like now was the time for us to engage in sponsorship again. Well, it's really welcoming people to your community, being their friend, helping them make that transition. Just coming here today, I struggled to figure out how to use the parking meter outside, and I've lived here for a long time. And it just kind of opens your eyes to think that there are people who are having to experience our culture, a new language, to start over here. And so you're just taking what you already know how to do, which is live in Greensboro, North Carolina, or wherever you are, and giving them that knowledge too. And you're being their friend. And being a sponsor, it's a real faith stretching experience. And I think that's one of the things I love most about it. Because I do have resources, right? I have the experience of living here. I speak the language, but trying to help meet the needs of somebody who's new here, that really stretches my faith. We have so enjoyed the family that we were teamed up with. It's a family of five, and we were fortunate in that most of the family members spoke English, the father and the three children, but the mother had never learned English, and in fact, she didn't know how to read or write in her own language. And you can imagine the transition that is for her to come to this country. And she was really struggling early on in our sponsorship, especially once the father got a job and was no longer going to English classes with her. And her children were going to school. And she was afraid to ride the public bus to get to class for her English classes. And our team decided to go the extra mile. So for 1 month, we would take her to class in the morning and pick her up in the afternoon and take her home. And our goal was for her to get more confident in learning English and developing more of a community with the other students that were in the class, that she would desire to go on her own. And it was a beautiful thing by the end of that month to see how she was smiling more. And the very last day of the month, when it was my turn to pick her up and take her home, I drove up to the class and she was waiting outside with the other women for the bus. And she saw me and she walked over to my car and she motioned to the bus stop. And I said, "So you're going to take the bus home?" And she nodded and smiled and walked back over to her friends. And it was just like, oh, thank you, Lord. It was just a wonderful thing to see. And I volunteer with that class now. I started actually the next month, volunteering once a week with that English class. And it's a beautiful thing to see how she has grown in her English ability, to the point where last time I was there, she actually read a sentence in English from the board in front of the whole class. And my team had been working with her individually all that time. And now it's just a beautiful thing to see her flourishing, having made friends, feeling confident to ride the bus by herself. Another one of my favorite experiences recently is we finally were able to have the family over for dinner at our house. And we ate on our patio. We'd been struggling to get our schedule and their schedules to match up because the father and the two boys all have jobs now. And so getting it to work out was a feat. But finally, we were all able to have dinner together, and it was a lovely night. And the fireflies started coming out as we were sitting around the table having dessert. And I will never forget the look of surprise and delight on the daughter's face when she saw a firefly light up in front of her for the first time. And to get to experience your hometown in a new way through fresh eyes, it's just another gift of sponsorship. Well, it's so personally enriching to be a community sponsor. I mean, I did it thinking I'm helping someone else. right? I'm using the resources God has given me to help someone else. And I was able to do that. But it's so personally enriching to get to know people from another place with many different experiences, to be able to see your own community with fresh eyes, to be able to be a part of giving someone a new life, new opportunities, to be able to share your um, just your experience, you knowing the language here, knowing what it's like to live here is invaluable for someone who's starting over.